video game, they could get a sense of it. No, ain't nothing like tactile experiences. Ain't nothing like getting something go upside your head while you're dizzy trying to make your mind up while your mind and your head is spinning at the same time. Don't nobody know how to do that. Old school folks know how to do it because they've got the missed meal cramps. They know what that's about. Young generation today, no, they don't. So we have not yet been tested, trial by fire, and it's coming.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it definitely is, brother. For the family, Brother Azariah on 125th Street in Harlem is a great go-to guy for these manuals that the brother's talking about. Brother Eitan Edwards in New York City. He was on the show previously. You could log on and listen to that show for that information. And I'm sure that there are other brothers and sisters around the world that have this information.
Has
Brother
a lot
Bay,
of the manuals, those e-books, the survival guides that Brother Phil is talking about. It's also imperative that the family gets their hands on the Boy Scout guide. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll tell you how to make the fire, you know, make the ropes and things of that particular nature. All of these things that are going to be needed, you know, in those particular settings. So yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Rashid got bumped off. I'm waiting for him to call back in. You know what I'm saying? Yes, in the meantime, you know, there's a lot of other scenarios going on in that particular area. You know what I'm saying? It's somewhat of a hotbed. Is there a particular design? Because, you know, they say that order comes out of chaos. And a lot of people feel as if they're witnessing the implementation of an agenda that was set forth by the quote-unquote New World Order. So is it a practical way in which to look at the chaos that is ensuing, of which the order will coalesce into one thing? Is that the particular agenda at hand, or are things just unraveling chaotically, period?
Well, there's both sides of it. One is trying to create the order, and in implementing that order, creating chaos. So what you're looking at is an exercise in ma'at, albeit a pathological and adverse one. What we're doing now, you have to look at what the overriding impetus has been, and that is greed, conquest, and you have to remember that there is a religious agenda here at work, and most people forget that those who run the money system are basing what they're telling you and basing what it is that they're doing, a lot of their strategy, on what they believe their forefathers set down for them. Now, when you're dealing with the Zionists, there are three different religions that are dealing with this, and you have to remember there's three religions. There's two that deals with spirituality completely. That's Christianity and Islam. It's all about what God says and all about what God's Son, Jesus, says. So you have one who's God, you don't see, you don't say, no one, so you're dealing with the three aspects of God. You got God that deals with complete no knowledge of him or it except what it is that is being said. There's to be no images of him. That's Allah. Then you come with the Christianity, and there's images of him all over the place, and he has a son that actually comes and walks the earth. Now you have this other one, this Judaic one. That's the one that most people are not paying attention to. That's the one who deals with a God that is purely physical, purely about setting up a kingdom on this planet. Ain't got nothing to do with invisible gods with beards sitting out there. Ain't got nothing to do with that. Their whole agenda is setting up a kingdom here on earth with Jerusalem as the place where they drop all their sciences, what their God and whoever it is that they elect as their God over everything, like the Pope. So you have someone who don't believe in the hocus pocus and all the magic and all the invisible this and that. They're just about using and manipulating man's lowest instincts and understanding how to play with those instincts to make man motivated to do what they believe their God told them to do, and that is to set up a kingdom on earth where they rule, that they're the superior ones, they're the chosen, and that's the ones that's right now pushing and pulling the buttons. The other ones are now circling around that agenda. Now, one is feeding the other while the other is now playing certain roles. Now, this game is going on back and forth. You have to watch that all of this is happening in an area where Rothschild and all the rest of those Zionists have said that they're going to bring the King of Earth back and build the New Jerusalem. Now, everything is happening in that region. It's happening in Iraq. It's happening in Libya. It's going to happen in Syria. It's going to happen in all that area right there. All of it is about Israel. Now, remember, if you remember, I did a lecture a long time ago. And in that lecture, I showed you what it is that Israel had earmarked to be the boundaries of Israel when the 1948 or was it the 38 or 31, the Balfour Agreement. If you look at the original Balfour Agreement with Disraeli and them, Israel had earmarked all of Iraq as Israel. And anything short of the Nile on the eastern side and the Euphrates on the western side, they were going to take up everything in between that, and that's what they had as Israel. Now, what was the first to fall? Iraq. Now we see it now going in for Libya because they wanted to extend the borders there so that if they have the borders of Libya, overthrow them and put a puppet up in there, they got some buffer zone between Syria and Iran because Iran is the real next target. All of what you're seeing happening right now is a prelude to Iran. Now, the only thing holding up Iran is the fact that the Chinese and the Russians got big-time oil interests over there. So if the United States want to go in there and start playing all kind of, roughneck, thug, they're going off. They're going at it. And that's going to be the point where Israel may begin to you may begin to see certain types of small, low ordnance nukes flying back and forth. So we're looking right now at an escalation, a kind of crescendo, building up to some great event, and it's got to top 9/11. Okay, we got an indication of that when HAARP hit Japan, and with that nuclear leak that we got there, they're giving us a precursor of what we have to get ready for and be worried about. Low level, either dirty nukes over here or straight up bombing Iran and North Korea. So we're watching for events that are going to take place, and they're all of a sudden, it's like out of nowhere, everybody's eyes is on Libya. But something else is happening someplace else that they don't want us to see, because remember, brothers and sisters, every time they got the TV train one place, they're doing something someplace you're not supposed to know about.
Indeed. I don't hear any reports about what's taking place in Iraq, even though we know that that's not where the theater of their escalation is taking place. But Pakistan was still heating up. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, things are heating up in India.
But look at Sudan. Look at Ethiopia. Look at Sudan. Look at Ethiopia. Look at Somalia. Okay?
Yep.
These are the places
the pirates.
They're doing a lot of moving. AFRICOM is all over.
Yes, it is.
Yep. Now, you mentioned HAARP in Japan. Is there anything else that has come forth in terms of your research of that particular incident?
I haven't put my mind into that as much as getting people ready by telling them. And I noticed that when I started sending people from California began calling me, asking me what to do if the radiation should reach. Well, I told them to get the iodide, it just slipped out of my head, the potassium iodide, which is a way to counteract radiation toxicity by way of helping the thyroids from going through any kind of debilitation, because the debilitation of the thyroid glands and the swelling is one of the first indications of ionic pollution, or you getting into any kind of toxic radiation causing any problems in your body. So I believe it's the iodide, not the iodate. The difference is it's much better. One is more easily absorbed by the body and does a more efficient work than the potassium iodate, I believe. But the substances I noticed when I told them to go to Whole Foods to pick up those packages of anti-radiation tablets that you could use, they told them that, you know, they don't carry them anymore, or that they ran out of them all of a sudden. So I would suggest, especially brothers and sisters up in New York, a couple of times there was, they supposedly, we read in the underground that there was supposedly some dirty nukes peppered throughout New York, and that New York and Washington were being held hostage by some powers that did not want certain political things to be happening, and they had threatened. That's why if you notice up in New York, if you hear any kind of, if you're late at night, or if you hear any kind of alert or some kind of drill that they're going to stage, they're going to say, well, we're going to run a drill or an emergency drill for preparation and all of that. No, that ain't got nothing to do with preparation. That they're doing that to keep the citizenry pacified and tranquil, while they are actually searching for a real, straight-out threat.
Mm. Absolutely. Yeah, I've been reading some information on the iodine as well. I would recommend to the family as well to stock up on the sea moss. You know what I'm saying? Sea moss, kelp, phosphorus, natural farming sea vegetables that have iodine and high content as well.
Yeah, and dulse as well.
Yeah, dulse. You know, sea vegetables, period. So
yeah,
that's definitely something.
So the Japanese themselves may not have too much to worry about with that, because they do a lot of sea. They cultivate and eat a lot of seaweeds.
Yes, they do.
You know.
Indeed.
Is Brother Rashid back on with us as of yet?
Not as of yet. And if he is calling a different number, I'm not sure which one it is. It's a lot of hands up, so I'm not 110%.
Okay, you take the questions.
Okay.
Yeah, let's open the line real quick and let the family interact with the good doctor.
Absolutely. So caller from 646. That's 646-284. Peace. Caller calling from 646. Okay. Caller calling from 347-687. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace.
That's me, boy.
Okay.